It is great to be back, not just back, but back with a bigger team, more talent, fresh ideas, committed coalition partners, and a big program to deliver and a big mandate from voters to get New Zealand back on track. And I want to say, speaking of more talent in National, before I go further, can I say thank you to both James and Katie for those outstanding and inspiring maiden speeches. James, I am moved to know that both your parents were watching here in this space today. And having met both of them, I can only imagine their pride. And you are the embodiment of the belief on this side of the House that education can change lives. And I want to acknowledge your mother's foresight, as you do too, because in instilling the value of education in you, she gave you a gift. And you stepped up and you made the most of it and you worked hard as a result. You are here today because of it, and I know you're going to make great contributions to this place, so congratulations, James. Well done. Katie, you were also instrumental in helping National win back the Bay, and we can all see why. Like James, you too have been strongly shaped by your family's circumstances, and in your case through business, service and a love of the place that you call home. And I also want to acknowledge your family on what is a proud day for them too, and for you and for National. So congratulations, Katie, as well. And Mr. Speaker, James and Katie's paths to this House have been very different, but their values, I believe, are very similar. They are National Party values that cherish independence, that cherish aspiration and effort, and that call to public service. And it is for all 123 of us MPs an honour and a privilege to serve the public from this very place, which is the beating heart of New Zealand's democracy. And we represent different parties and we come from different backgrounds and experiences with unique life stories. But in this House, each of us is heard. Our voices count. And across the House, I genuinely want to congratulate every new MP on your election to Parliament and urge you to use your time here well. And congratulations again to you, Mr. Speaker. Your guidance, experience and sense of fairness will serve all of us in this House and New Zealand very well. Now, Mr. Speaker, I have to say, New Zealand is under new management. And we are here because people believe that we are the parties that can get things done. That's why you elect parties on this side of the House. And just like there are laws of nature and just like there are laws of physics, there are laws of politics. Because if you want lower tax, you vote for us. If you want the government books managed well, you vote for us. And if you want to create more opportunities for everyone, you vote for us. And New Zealanders get it and New Zealanders want it, and that's why they elected the parties in this coalition government. They know that we will get things done and that those things will be the things that matter to them. New Zealanders want National Act in New Zealand First to be the strong government that New Zealand needs. They want us to deliver you, and I'm telling you, we will. So let me take a moment just to acknowledge the National team in this House. And you've already met two of our class of 23. But from Grant McCullum in Northland to Miles Anderson down south in Waitaki, from Dana Kirkpatrick in the East Coast to Maureen Pugh on the West Coast, National MPs reclaim from Labour so much of New Zealand in this year's election. And I welcome two National MPs who are here for a second turn, Northcote MP Dan Bidwar and Paolo Garcia. And didn't Paolo Garcia do well, turning Newland blue for the first time in 60 years? 60 years. It is great to have you both back. Great to have you both back. And we also welcome Nancy Liu off the list after a happy byproduct of Andrew Bailey smashing the Port Waikato by-election. Now, Mr. Speaker, in the North Island, our new MPs are Carl Bates in Wanganui, Cameron Brewer in Upper Harbour, Mike Butterick in Wairarapa, Carlos Chung from Mount Roskill, and Mount Roskill, what a win that was as well. We've got Tim Costley in Otaki, we've got Greg Fleming from Mongakeke, we've got Ryan Hamilton aptly in Hamilton East, We've got David McLeod in New Plymouth, Rima Narkley from Takanini, Suze Redmayne from Rangitikei, Tom Rutherford from the Bay of Plenty, and Catherine Wedd from Tukituki, who you heard Katie talk to in her remarks. And in the South Island, where we already have a strong showing of MPs, we're adding Hamish Campbell in Ireland, and we're adding Vanessa Wienick in Banks Peninsula, and what a great win that was too. And on top, there are all the returning MPs, some now with seats that they've won back. And I want to say congratulations to you all. It was an excellent election for National, but the pledge of the coalition government is that whether you voted for us or not, we will govern for you. And I do also want to take this opportunity to welcome back to Parliament the expanded ACT and also New Zealand First teams. Thank you for sharing National's commitment to doing the practical, the important things that will make this a better country for all New Zealanders, to growing the economy, to governing with common sense and to making people's lives easier. We are the parties with different priorities and different concerns, but there is a strong alignment on our core values, like believing in the dignity of independence, and that if you work hard in the best country on planet Earth, you should be able to get ahead. And I have to say, I am looking forward to working together with our three teams, putting New Zealand's interests first as we deliver our shared policy program. Now, on this side of the House, we all came to politics to make a positive change for the country that we love, we are proud of, and that we see so much potential in. And we are going to manage the economy well. Now that we've rescued it from Labor, we'll nurse it back to health. We will ease the cost of living. In fact, we've already started. We will restore law and order. The coalition parties separately and together as a government are absolutely committed to offenders facing real consequences for their crimes and are committed to New Zealanders feeling safe in their homes, in their businesses and in their communities. We are going to get public services working better, because when you care about people, and we care deeply about people, you don't just wring your hands and look anguish and spout rhetoric. Looking anguish doesn't take an hour off an emergency wait list in an emergency department. You need to actually get stuck in, sort it out, and actually get things done to make the difference. We are about attitudes on this side of the House, not platitudes. It's our attitude to public money is to respect the people who actually earn it. And we're going to do that by letting the people who earn it keep more of it. Because that part of that they hand over in tax, we will spend on helping New Zealanders get ahead and on making this great country even better. And with better education, more support for the stretched health workforce, better and faster roads, less red tape, more renewable energy and more initiatives to increase New Zealand's prosperity so that we can all get ahead. We're about increasing incomes and outcomes. And I have to say I've had many impressive briefings already with very good senior public servants in the past few days. And when they come in with their good ideas for actually achieving what the government wants, I say to them, that's great, but how do we do it faster? Because good execution matters, and that's measured by results and it's measured by outcomes. But Mr Speaker, the first result I actually want to talk about is the election result, and specifically Labor's. Because the swearing-in yesterday was my very first day in the House on the government's benches, and the view from here is actually still of Labor, but now there's just a lot fewer of them. And I have to say, Mr Speaker, what we just now heard from Chris Hipkins was not righteous indignation. Yeah, it was not righteous indignation. It was not righteous indignation, it was ritual humiliation. Because I got to say, Chris Hipkins started the last term with 65 MPs, and he's starting this one with 34. Think about it, Chris Hipkins started the last term with the biggest majority in MMP history in New Zealand, and is starting this one with one of the most humiliating defeats for the Labor Party. And I have to say, Chris Hipkins and Grant Robertson, they started this last term with everything that they needed. They started the last term with everything they needed to actually set up a political dynasty for a decade, and they squandered it. No reason they should have been in power for 10 or 12 years. They didn't make it. They squandered the opportunity that they've got. And I recall when he lost Meka Whaitiri and he said he didn't know where she'd gone. Well, he's lost around 30 MPs. He's lost 30 MPs. But he knows where they are. He knows where those 30 MPs are. They're out looking for jobs. And I have to say, they're not bad people, but they served in a very bad government. And New Zealanders saw it, and New Zealanders paid for it, and New Zealanders kicked them out. And make no mistake, Labour earned its loss. It worked hard for it. Labour wasted time. They squandered public money, and they made this great country and its people miss out on opportunities. MPs on that side of the House put Labour ideology and dogma ahead of New Zealand's interests, and New Zealand punished them for it. And let it be a reminder to all of us in this House that we are actually here to represent the people and their needs. That's what we're here to do. So I have to say, Labour is sitting over there wondering who to blame for them going from 65 MPs, the most ever in the history of MMP in this country, to the 32 uncomfortable people over there with survivor's guilt that I see opposite me. You've got 2 new MPs, and I say congratulations. But we heard from a bitter and a twisted and a negative Chris Hipkins, the one we saw during the campaign over there. But you can see he's sitting over there asking the question, how has he survived when nearly half of his caucus lost their jobs under his leadership? Why is he still here when so little was achieved and so little was delivered? Why is he still here? Why is he still here after squandering and decimating an absolute majority in just 3 years? Squandering an absolute majority in 3 years. And so many Kiwis said, I'll vote for anyone but Labour, and they did. And I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about Chris Hipkins a little bit. And I just have to say, he is actually like an arsonist who, having thrown an accelerant all over the joint and lit the place up, he doesn't just slink off, actually leaving the scene, realising he's caused a huge amount of damage. He doesn't actually fess up, put his hand up, apologise to the New Zealand people and actually say he got it wrong. He just simply loiters and hangs around at the scene of the crime, actually just waiting and watching everything. And meanwhile, the good news I've got to tell you is the fire brigade is showing up and we're going to deal with it. That's what's going to happen. But you have to ask the question, why is he here? And then Grant Robertson, he's also got survivor's guilt, and he's sitting there saying, why me? Why did I survive when I was the Minister of Finance who delivered food price inflation of 28%? 28%, faster than at any time since the 1980s. Why did I survive when weekly rents went up $180 per week? Why? Why is he still here? When the official cash rate hit its highest point since 2008. You tripled mortgage interest rates, you crippled family budgets, and the question Grant Robertson got asked is, why am I still here? Why? Why is he still here after spending more, borrowing more, taxing more, and delivering worse outcomes? He's got nothing to show for it. And so we're asking the same question. Why, having done such a terrible job, is he still here? Ginny Anderson probably isn't asking herself why she survived, because self-reflection may not actually be her thing. But she should be asking, why is she still here? Because crime got a lot worse on her watch and Kiwis feel a lot less safe on the streets and in their own neighbourhoods. Ayesha Viral, she should also have survivor's guilt because we know so many health outcomes went backwards under Labour. Immunisation rates, waitlist times at emergency departments, first specialist appointments, surgeries, all went backwards over that time. So let me just, in the spirit of being supportive, help Labour with where they went wrong, because we heard a diatribe from Chris Hipkins and some revisionist history going on, but let me just give you some help. While Labour was wasting billions of dollars and achieving nothing, while they were distracted building a big new health bureaucracy as health outcomes went backwards, while they were alienating the public by progressing co-governance without ever explaining it, and while they were talking gibberish in the draft science curriculum, which didn't even mention the words physics, chemistry or biology, New Zealanders were actually struggling. And families were facing rising bills, they were going backwards, and Labour was busy on new taxes and hate speech. And I point this out merely to help Labour work out what went wrong, and also to say that on this side of the House, we understand what matters to New Zealanders. The things that impact their daily lives are the things that matter the most to all of them. Those are the things that we need to be talking about in this place. Those are the things that the public elected us to talk about here. Those are the things that matter the most to them. And along with the billions of dollars of wasted public money, there was the cabinet chaos, the underperformance everywhere, and New Zealanders' fear, genuine fear, that they could lose their homes. And don't tell me it wasn't so, because I spoke to those people on the election campaign. And I listened to them, and I literally held the hands of some of them, like that small business owner who was trying so hard, but her business was going under, and she hadn't told her team yet because those families depended on those incomes. And she cried, telling me how hard it was, and that's how it was to be a small business owner after 6 years of Labour. And I met people who own dairies where terrible things had happened to them, and I truly hope that the children in those families recover from those experiences. And I met farmers who used to spend a couple of hours a week on paperwork, and they were dedicated to running their properties in the most environmentally sustainable way they could. And now they spend a day a week complying with the government bureaucracy and the rules, telling them how to do their jobs. And this government's going to show a lot more respect than the last government did to those people. And so, Mr. Speaker, I have to say there is hope. There is a government that appreciates that businesses provide jobs and opportunities for other New Zealanders. Business owners and managers understand that their greatest resource is their team. And it is by working together that the team grows the business and it creates better wages and more opportunities and more jobs. And that's the national way of looking at it. It's the aspirational way. And we say it takes a lot of courage to start a small business and to employ people, and those who do it well should be extremely proud of what they do. And it's similar with private rentals. Over here, we know that landlords are mostly New Zealanders who are trying hard to get ahead by investing their savings and providing homes for other families. And here's what Labour has never understood. Many of the tenants that they see as perpetual victims of the so-called evil capitalist landlords have aspirations too. They have aspirations too. Not only to own their own homes, but perhaps one day maybe to become landlords themselves. So they voted for us as a government of aspiration. And we are a government that says this will once again be a country where you can realistically go about achieving your dream. Your path might be trades training, it might be tertiary education, a business you started at the dining room table or on a fishing boat, or just a really good idea to solve something that bugs you. But whatever the motivation and whoever and wherever you are, we want to encourage people to have a go in this country. We will not be a government that slams people with rules and costs and that makes even the most hopeful entrepreneur lose hope as they have been doing. And national campaigns on three key areas that concerned us before the election, and I'm telling you we're going to continue to drive improvement in government, and I want to thank ACT and New Zealand First for their support in doing that. The first thing is we're going to rebuild the economy to make it work for all New Zealanders. Because we know on this side of the House, we know that the living standards of every single one of us depends on a strong and growing economy. A strong and growing economy provides individuals and families with the opportunity to get ahead, and it generates the value and the wealth that lets us invest in this country in infrastructure and the public services that we so well deserve. And on the other hand, when the economy stagnates, as it has for the last 6 years, things become harder for more of us. And that's what we've been left with by Labour, an economy in a mess where high inflation has wreaked havoc on people's budgets, where the price of food, housing and groceries has risen faster than wages, meaning so many Kiwis have been going backwards, where interest rates have had to climb to eye-watering levels to try and put the lid back on inflation. But inflation has become so entrenched and embedded from 6 years of reckless, wasteful government spending that the Reserve Bank is already foreshadowing rates will have to stay higher for months to come. And that is Labour's legacy, and it's felt most keenly by anyone with a large mortgage, which they had to take on after the record increase in house prices under Labour. And it's a legacy felt by families and workers who are struggling to make their paycheck stretch for another 2 weeks. And it's for those people that we promise to work. It's for those people that we will be better than our predecessors. We will stop the wasteful government spending and get the books back in order, because we know that every dollar the government spends had to actually be earned by someone going to work and working hard. And that's why Simeon Brown has already instructed officials to stop work on the ridiculous $16 billion Lake Onslow pumped hydro scheme. When we've said we're going to stop doing things that are stupid and wasteful, we mean it. There's more of that coming, because people who are working out there in the rain, or people who are cleaning our offices here late at night and paying their taxes, expect us to treat that money carefully, just like they would themselves, and you didn't do it. We're going to let them keep more of their own money to encourage and reward hard work and to help ease the cost of living so that life gets a little bit easier for workers and families. And let's be clear, Labor should have adjusted tax rates a long time ago. That would have actually been the fair thing to do, but they had such an insatiable appetite and an addiction to spending. They wanted more and more of the public's money, and they took it off people who deserve to be paying less tax, not more. We're going to cut red tape because we actually want to make life easier, especially for small businesses and especially for farmers, but also and we're going to cut that red tape so that cost stops getting passed on to consumers with higher prices. And in some sectors, getting things done is more expensive in New Zealand than it is anywhere else in the world. And yes, we want to be world leading, but not for the cost of doing business. We're not a wealthy country, so we need to stop making things even more expensive by loading up unnecessary costs. And that means we're going to simplify planning rules so people who want to build stuff and get things done from a new deck or to an offshore wind farm can actually get on and get it done. We're going to get going on infrastructure, including 13 new roads of national significance and public transport projects that actually get progressed, not just talked about by consultants. We're going to unleash significant investment in new renewable energy generation so we can meet our climate targets without shutting down our most important economic sectors. And given the scale of the infrastructure deficit New Zealand faces after 6 years of a Labor government, we're going to be unapologetic about getting the private sector involved where that makes sense too. We know there's a lot of money sitting around with institutional investors both here in New Zealand and overseas, investors who are looking for safe, stable, long-term projects to invest in. So one of the first jobs of our new National Infrastructure Agency is going to be to set up a better matching of investors with projects to get things done faster. Now, Mr Speaker, let me turn to law and order, because ensuring people are actually safe in their own homes, their businesses and communities is a pretty basic responsibility of any government. But the Labor government didn't live up to that responsibility, and over the past 6 years, violent crime went up 33%, serious assaults went up, I think, doubled, gang membership went up over 70%. And I've got to tell you, gangs wreck lives and they are responsible for enormous social and community harm. And under Labor, they were allowed to overrun entire towns, take over motorways and actually beat people up in public daylight. And that growth in gangs is troubling, especially for communities with a large gang presence, but also troubling for anyone who truly cares about our country. And as I've said before, if you care, you do something about it to help. So this government is going to focus on law and order and restoring personal responsibility as part of our commitment of making our communities safer. And of course, we'll focus on the causes of crime too, but also on law and order, because here's another stat for you. 60% of gang members, 60% more gang members are on home detention under Labor, and they're responsible for 1/3 of the breaches. And here's another one. Retail crime has been impacted by an incredible 92%. It's cost us actually $2.6 billion extra. And we're all now paying for that crime with higher prices and more inflation. We are going to combat youth offending. We're going to make sure we get our young offender military academies in place. We're going to make sure we actually put young people's lives on a better and a much more productive path going forward. And I tell you, our parties here on this side of the House are all aligned in amending the Sentencing Act so that we make sure you get appropriate consequences and you actually get serious time when you actually cause pain and suffering for people across New Zealand. We're going to restore the 3 strikes, and we're committed to training no fewer than 500 new frontline police officers in our first 2 years. Now, Labor said the 2017 election was going to be a new beginning for our education system. Remember that? Remember that one? That was what they said. You know, transformational government, going to be fantastic, going to deliver outstanding outcomes for education. They were right, but not in a good way, because essentially it was a new beginning for our education system, and a sad one. What we've seen is a rapid slide in academic achievement and the beginning of an enormous problem with absenteeism. And around 40% of our kids are not attending school regularly. I mean, that is startling and shameful, absolutely shameful. And just last night we had the shocking and more sad news, not surprising, that actually in the PISA test, which is how countries are benchmarked against each other, in reading, maths and science, New Zealand has slid even further, and in all 3 of those subject areas, our results are the worst that they've ever been. And that is Labor's legacy in education, and that is Chris Hipkins' legacy as Education Minister for 5.5 years. All talk, all rhetoric, lots of hiring of bureaucrats, no delivery, no outcomes. And I am determined we are going to turn it around, because every pupil, whether they're Māori, non-Māori, urban, rural, whoever they are, wherever they hope for, needs for the education system to do better by them. And Mr Speaker, our results in health have also declined. There is just so much for us to do, and we're up for it. We are going to boost the health workforce, encourage nurses and midwives to stay, train more doctors. We're going to focus on results, and because results matter, they save lives. Mr Speaker, we are delighted to be back with a big team. We are delighted to be back with a big program and big ambitions for New Zealand at home and overseas. New Zealand has everything it needs to be successful, and now with a government committed to making it happen. And New Zealanders can be positive about the future. And change won't be easy, and it won't be quick, because Labor has left us a lot to repair and to rebuild, and the books are not in good shape. But I tell you, there's nothing that can't be done by a government that actually knows what it's doing. There's nothing that can't be done when we don't put New Zealanders first. That's what this is about. This government's going to do. That's what we're going to do. It's what we came here to do. Our team is in place. Our partners are ready. The people have given us the mandate, and we are ready to go to work. Thank you very much.